A very good evening to you from wherever you're watching us from. Thank you so much for sticking with us. This is your #1 youth station, Y254 TV. This is the best place to be each and every Thursday evening. A repeat of this show airs each and every Friday at 12 noon, right here on the same place, Y254. My name is Aguko, and this is Power Talk. It's a pleasure to be with you on this fantastic evening. Remember, we are coming to you live from the broadcasting house here in Nairobi, Kenya. We are also streaming live through our website, and that's at www.kbc.co.ke/Y254. Thank you so much for sticking with us. And tonight we have a very interesting conversation lined up for you: the impact of childhood trauma on adults. Have you ever been with somebody and wondered what is their problem? And that's a very funny question to ask. Is it possible that you could be handling somebody who has underlying issues that they have not resolved? Unresolved childhood trauma. When you talk about childhood trauma, it cuts across everything. How you handle your business, how you handle your relationship, how you handle your society, how you handle yourself even on social media. Everything is not as it seems. There is always that underlying unresolved issue. Tonight, let's talk about this. And I invite you to be part of this conversation. To help us here, to my far right, I am with James Ng'aru Kamau, the director for PCEA Dandora Community Center. Next to him is Zipporah Wanyeki. She is a counselor, a teacher, and trainer. Karibuni sana.
Thank you.
Mko salama? I'm happy to have the both of you here. I know mwalimu tulikuwa na wewe wiki zilizopita. Thank you so much for coming. First time on this show, right?
Yeah, sure.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Zipporah, I know this is long overdue.
Yeah, we should have done it as early as yesterday.
As early as yesterday. I remember we planned to talk about this.
Yes.
And God's time is the best.
Yeah, sure.
And those watching from home, as we talk about this impact of childhood trauma, head over to our Facebook page. That's at Y254. Drop in your comment section on our poster and on the picture that you'll see on that particular page. Let us know where you're watching us from and be part of this conversation. Even as we proceed, I shall highlight a few of your comments and feedback a bit later on during this discussion as we talk about the impact of childhood trauma on adults. You are an adult. Do you have childhood trauma? Let's talk about this. And Zipporah, let me start with you.
Yes.
We are using a very interesting word. Trauma. Mtazani ni ile mtikiso wa ardhi. When you say childhood trauma, what is it that we are referring to that is considered childhood trauma?
Thank you, Ram. Maybe to demystify the word trauma, as you say, people think tunaongea kuhusu mtetemeko. It's purely something that is distressing, depressing, disturbing experience that probably you have had in the past while you're growing up. So trauma is something that really shook your system, your whole system, something that really disturbed your overall well-being as you're growing up. It can be anything from disaster, like for example, the fire, floods. It can be loss. It can be abuse. It can be you experienced a shootout, you experienced an accident. Anything that really disturbed you emotionally, physically, qualifies to be trauma. Psychologically qualifies to be trauma.
That's trauma. And in your experience also, what would you define now in common tongue? Trauma, childhood trauma, especially for this conversation here.
Yeah. Thank you. As you have said, we are talking about those bad experiences that the children may have gone through. And I think the focus here is on the bad experiences.
Yes.
And maybe to add on the list she has said, we could also be talking about children have been abandoned or being neglected. And that to see that later in life, that kind of situation will have some impact.
Yes.
So it's those bad experiences that children actually go through.
And even as talk about this, physical, sexual,
Yeah.
emotional,
Yeah.
psychological.
Yeah.
All these things affect children, and we may not know it until we are adults.
Yeah, sure.
You hear some big bang. Let's talk about that. The signs, something that can make you say that this adult. Remember, we're talking about adults.
Yes.
Okay, this adult could have gone through some trauma when they were a child that needs to be resolved.
Yeah, sure.
How can you pick it out?
You know, Ram, when I look at you and I analyze you,
Yes.
not from just a normal perspective, but from your behavioral perspective.
As a psychologist.
I can tell you how your childhood was. There's something we call attachment. You either have secure or insecure attachment. So when you want to find out an adult, some sign that this person must have gone through something, look at that person's rate of aggression, for example. An aggressive person, somebody who gets angry for no proper reason. That tells you this anger did not just come. He's only projecting something that has been repressed, something that has been, pinned down for so long. Probably you grew up, for example, in a dysfunctional home. Where mother and father are fighting. Every other single day you had a chaos. Don't stab me, don't kill me. Mother is screaming. And you picked that as a child. When you grow up as an adult, it is going to follow you. How? These people do not make some very healthy relationship. It's either they end up becoming a bully or they end up hating marriage or forming an unhealthy relationship. They are not able to form a very healthy relationship. They fear trusting people.
They get disoriented.
If I saw my mother being fought, what makes you think my marriage will work? So this person finally, kind of avoids people. So these people who are quite insecure find out how their childhood was.
You deal with the
Yes,
kids,
yes, exactly.
students, from your experience when you handle kids. Do you notice such things?
Yeah, I want to agree with her that you're likely to say that this kind of situation that are happening to children will be transferred to adulthood. Like now you may realize that in a school setting, because I'm an addictionist, you realize that some children become very hostile to the rest of the children in the school. So if you check on the background and see the connection and the kind of the environment the child is being brought up, you find a lot of hostility. So that hostility the child has been brought up in is likely to play again in future, in adulthood. And also remember that these children are also looking up to some other people. And exactly the same way, the manner they are seeing their parents behave is the same way they are also going to behave the times they are going to be parents. So when I see you not being an organized person, an organized man, then it means that your past must have been very traumatic.
Sure.
Yeah.
Come to think of it, I actually agree with him. Come to think of it, I'm sure you must have heard of these people we call narcissists. That's a show by itself, narcissistic behavior.
Yes.
And you wonder, why is it that somebody is not able to jump out of an abusive relationship? Huyu mtu amekatwa mikono, huyu mtu amechomwa, but still cannot jump out. Why?
Why?
This person is clinging to this marriage because in the past, as this child was growing up, probably faced neglect. So this person is trying to prove a point. This marriage, if it fails, I'm going to cling to it. I must do everything to make it work because you are really working to repress rejection that you faced in the past. Children who are neglected where they are growing up, sometimes they tend to be overly dependent. They do not have emotions for anyone else. I can handle it on my own. Just know it has a behavior. It's a beginning.
Now, let's divide this conversation here because I'm seeing a lot of things. I have a lot of questions. You're saying a lot of things. So if you find someone who is in an abusive relationship, they can't leave it because there is some dependency that is there. If you're seeing someone who is always agitated, childhood trauma.
Oh, yes.
I'm asking myself, what about the characters of a person, the personality traits? Does that play a role?
Sure. There are many other things that will make you. When we are defining personality, we say it is the overall things that make you, right?
Now, I want us to define this, to dissect these things. And I know we will tackle all those things in this conversation.
Yes.
Let's divide it in terms of work first. Work. In the social setup of the workplace, where we have a boss, an employee, where we have subordinates, we have the staff. How do we relate with each other at the work level? Understanding that this person could have been dealing with child. Sometimes we may be arguing with people at work, they have issues.
They have issues. I agree.
Molly, let me start with you and then I'll come to you, Zipporah.
Yeah, I think what you are saying is very true. That even in a work setting, employees are likely to conduct and behave in a way that is showing how they were brought up from childhood.
Even between you and your fellow
Exactly,
teacher.
exactly. And like, let's say, for example, you may find someone coming to work late. Someone is not time conscious. Always. So that has a link to what were the settings and what were the kind of upbringing that person was brought up in. And so in that case, even the person now who is the boss in this case, the way he resolves the issues to do with the staff has to do with what kind of childhood did this person experience, so that you're able to make the employees remain in a cohesion. So in a work setting, I think it's very, very possible that these traumatic experiences can also have a play.
Okay. Zipporah?
I agree with what he's saying. And to add to that, I'm sure you must have heard this common old theory that says somebody's confidence is shaped by the mother, isn't it?
Yeah.
But picture this, Ram. You had a mother, and this mother probably divorced with the father, and so she remarried. She got married to a different man, and this man was there abusing you as the child. But because they are in love, this mother, covers up this father. So you grew up being beaten, and the person who was supposed to protect you is actually not protecting you. So you're there with anger, with aggression, with bitterness, that you've grown with it. You've grown up, you're a journalist, you're a teacher, you go to the workplace. What will happen when somebody provokes you, you are to meet deadline, you did not? At the slightest provocation, these people blow up. They have what you call defense mechanism. Niguze hivi tuonane, because they've already piled so much. So these people you see, unaona analipuka haraka, highly aggressive, highly irritable. You just know that it's not just from there. I know in Nairobi there are many factors that can make this person do that, but find out how his past was. So these people, one, they find it very difficult to form relationship, attachment.
At work.
If they do, they don't last. Picture of this somebody who is, want all things for herself. Because again, we think that not protecting children is bad. Overprotection is also bad. You know that, A child who was overprotected. Oh, now you know. A child who was overprotected while they were growing up. You sleep, you are grade 7 and you sleep on the chair, they carry you to bed. Na kilo zako 50. Oh, you are to do this, they do homework for you. Oh, you do not want to eat this, they prepare something else. That is kind of overprotection. What are you bringing up? A timid child.
Wait. You're saying if my child sleeps on the couch,
you carry them.
I should not carry them.
There is an age. How now do you carry a class 7, class 8 girl to bed? Honestly, and they are well, you can wake them up and they walk.
Wakizoea.
Everything, too much of everything is poisonous. So you should also let them be. Let them be. Let them experience life at its best. How to wabeba milele. So overprotection, we also see it in workplace. This child, huyu, shida yake ilikuwa akikua. This person was overprotected. Cannot do much, cannot initiate a decision. You've heard of mama's boys. I want to buy a plot, I must go back to my mother and my mother must approve of this. Ask yourself why. After 18 years, you have an idea and you still go back to the village to ask whether you should buy in Kamuru or in Joska. No, there's a problem.
I also want to make an input there on what you said on overprotection. Yes, it is right that parents, adult caretakers or caregivers must protect the children, but overprotection is dangerous. Because I'm in a school setting, I have seen situations where parents overprotect their children.
Sure.
You've
And
seen while
I've seen
at
that.
school.
This is
Yeah.
very practical. We agree that parents should protect their children, but not overprotect them. So they even want to define the kind of work these children should be given. So if the parents in
As
his
if
or
a
her
year,
way,
they should
yes,
not mob.
yes,
They
it should not be a lot. And when they go home, the work is being done by other people. This child has not been trained to do house chores at home. Even things like washing clothes, making beds is done by other people. And so when the parent perceives that maybe the work being given to my son or my daughter is too much, they will complain to school, at school, you know. So at the end of the day, the child gets a concept about life. I mean, life is easy, life is easy sailing. But later in life, the reality of what life is will come.
It dawns on them.
Oh,
It
sure.
dawns on them when it will be too late. Yes.
Asiyefunzwa na mamaye.
Yes.
Funzo na ulimwengu.
So overprotection is dangerous.
So from where you sit, you've seen parents come to school to complain. How dare you do this to my child? How dare you assign this type of work to my child? Your thoughts. I want you to talk to parents tonight. Because now they are watching you. And a parent may be like, but what if my child has this kind of condition? What if I would want my child to grow up to be such kind of a person? You know, there are those so many scenarios that play here. The do's and the don'ts here of how a parent should limit their child's participation in school.
Okay. Now, you see, the child is already protected by the laws that exists
Within the
like
institution.
now within the institution, and also from our country, we do have the act that governs the protections of the children. And that, of course, as people working in a school setting, we ensure that that one is taken care of. For instance, the issue of the corporal punishment. Today, corporal punishment is a criminal offense. And we as the administrators of school remind our teachers that you are not supposed to use this as a way of correcting the child. Use other acceptable means to correct the child's behavior. So the child is already protected. But now you realize that the parents sometimes may go overboard and they want to define. And they come up with issues like maybe the way you talk to my child. Are you speaking at a loud voice?
Are you shouting?
You know, are you shouting? You know?
Are you giving too much homework?
Are you giving too much homework? Now, this kind of things now puts the child in a situation whereby it's overprotected. But what is actually allowed within the law, within what has been allowed by the Ministry of Education is very much practical on the ground. But now the parents are going beyond. These are things that you have actually seen practically.
And now, so these things, overprotectiveness, it now displays itself when somebody is an adult.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
At the workplace.
Yes.
So how can you pick out that this person was not brought up well? And I'm also trying to connect that with the bad experiences that they went through while they were young. How can you pick such people out at work?
Okay, for the case of a protected child, while they were growing up, these are children who try to do something. I'll take you back to a theory we call the psychosocial theory by Erik Erikson. And he talks about each and every stage of development and what should happen. And when that doesn't happen, what happens? Okay? So you hear there are people who are fixated because they did not do something at a certain stage. So as an adolescent, there's what we expect this child to be doing. But now when you're doing it for this child, unamunyima hiyo experience. So what will happen to this person? One, as adults, they don't take initiative in anything. They don't.
Adults
not much.
who don't take initiative
yeah,
at work or in anything.
Will never volunteer to do anything. You volunteer, every other person, they want things done for them. They are used to it. I drink tea, please come pick my cups and put them away. I want you people to, do work for me. Everything, even those basics that they should be able to do, they want you to do it for them. they are indecisive.
So it is not, so sometimes people think that akona kiburi, si kiburi kumbe.
Hapana, si ni vile amelelewa. Mayai. You brought up, you know, Ram, you grew up in a typical African home, right?
Yes.
And you knew that when you wake up, you make your own bed, right?
Yes.
Nobody would come there to make the bed for you. But today, we have somebody who makes the bed for the child, somebody who cleans up the shoes for the child, feeds you, cleans in, does literally everything for this child.
Yeah.
And even when the child struggles with homework, picks and does the homework for them. So where have you left this child? Nowhere. So as a grown-up, they'll never take initiative. 2, they don't take challenging tasks. They are very indecisive. They cannot decide anything. Wacha kwanza tuende tuulize fulani. They'll keep on consulting and consulting. Now, should you have that as a boss, my friend, you'll cry.
Have you dealt with such people? Those who say, we need to confirm with the director first?
No,
Yes.
actually, if he's the boss and you are the assistant, he will use your brain to shine up there. Why? Because he's coming to use your brain and he takes the credit, but it is you who did the scrap work there. They don't initiate anything new. So those are people who are overprotected. That is not the only thing. Think about this child who has grown up with abuse, for example. Physical, emotional, or something. Fast forward, he's an adult. This is a young man who saw the father fight the mother. There are likely scenarios that can come. 1, this person will hate all men because he felt like if my dad did this, and so he has some unresolved bitterness with this person. So he want ni mtu anaweza fight haraka sana.
So at work they are always hostile to their male colleagues.
Very hostile. Number 2, they lack empathy. No any sign of emotion within these people. They're not empathetic. Empathetic is I find you're hurting and I help you. No, these people, they saw it all while they were growing up. There's nothing else. 3, you find them that they can get a defense mechanism. Huyu ni mtu anaweza potelea kwa alcohol, drug and substance abuse. This is somebody who can be running away and using media excessively. Unafikiria kama mtu wako saa 7 ya usiku online unajiuliza, kwani mtu anawaka online? Anafanya nini? Is running away from something. The flashback of where he grew up. So it shows up. And you see somebody appears with ragged clothes and, looking all not properly done. And you wonder, shida ni nini? It's not that it has developed. It took time to develop. My teacher used to say, if you see a toto is up there, somebody must have put it there. Normally toto is not climb up. So you need to find out.
Yeah, maybe to add on that.
Okay.
It's also likely that if, for instance, I beat my wife, my son will think that's how men should behave.
Sure.
So the time you grow up to be my age, he also beat his wife. Because that's how life appears to be. So, as she's saying, fast forward from that childhood, today when you see that a person who is, cannot make peace all the time, is dealing with issues to do with, kuna majibizano, kuna vita in a workplace, chances are that person was brought up in that kind of a family where there's a lot of conflicts and fightings. And that's now what this person thinks that that's the way now life should be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, okay. I hope, guys, you're learning something from home. I'm now understanding so many scenarios in my head.
And we haven't actually talked about these people when they compliment you early in the morning. Ram, you're so smart. And they're like, Kweli, are you sure? They don't believe.
Okay. Is that wrong?
That communicates something, that this person's self-esteem is down, self-worth is down. So who destroyed that? Where? While they were growing up.
So, if someone, if you compliment someone and they say thank you immediately, is that?
That's fine.
That's okay.
That means that you're self-confident that you wore that suit and you look good in it.
What about if you compliment someone and they say, Ni pesa tu even. Hivi ndio kuko.
We are not worried by those words.
You're not worried.
They don't say that.
Wala mbona sema ni Mungu tu.
No, it's good to attribute your success to God. It's very good. But now this person who does not believe that you look like it, now that tells you that their self-esteem is down. So what happened? Probably they must have suffered some emotional abuse while they were growing up. So that is what makes these people self-esteem, you know, and even in marriage, they carry that even in their marriages.
I want us to take a short break. And then after this, let's talk about marriage. How to pick up people who are, who must have gone through some trauma in their marriage time. One good thing is I'm talking with people who have experience. You're married and you're the best person to talk about this. Right? And psychologists here. Thank you so much. I want us to take a break and then we'll be back with more right here on Power Talk. Yes, thank you so much for sticking with us. We continue with this conversation right here on Power Talk. And we're talking about the impact of childhood trauma on adults. And let me just read a few of your comments here. I'm seeing this is Kizazi Gamarei. Anasema, I used to think ni baba yetu alikuwa anatupikia kabla hajaoa. Sio lako unasema. Sijaelewa at all. But thank you for choosing to tune in. Your feedback is still valuable. This is Samuel Ngogi. Anasema tune in from Kawele na asante sana. And of course, we shall read more of your feedback later on. Now, let's continue the conversation right here on Power Talk, even as talk about matters concerning childhood trauma and how best you can deal with this particular issue. I am with Zipporah Wanyeki here and James Ng'aru Kamau. Now, before we went on that break, we were tackling how trauma can be, how to deal with the people at work. Sindio, I want us to wrap that particular aspect first. In terms of relations, how should colleagues now relate? So, what do you do? How should you, move forward? Because there's some who are now not talking to each other. Ukweli usemwe. There are colleagues who are not talking to each other, yet it's an issue of childhood trauma. Let's talk about interrelations between colleagues. Let me start with you, Malimu.
Okay. Good relationships within the staff is very important, especially for the institution realizing its objectives and the reason as to why it is there. But as you say, it is very true that some colleagues will not be speaking to each other.
Yes.
And this one has to do with their childhood situations that has been brought up into adulthood. So in such a situation, I think besides the core business of the work, it is very, very important that people relate well, and your concerns and your problems are also my concerns and my problems. And this can be achieved by encouraging workplaces to have things that brings people together.
Okay.
Yeah, things that brings people together. For instance, you can talk about people having a kind of a welfare group, such that when one of the staff has an issue, others can be able to play in support. It is also encouraged that at workplaces, the management or the administration should organize, for out of work situations where people can come, do some activities together and bond. Team building activities, yeah? That one will help bring down those kind of conflicts that may arise due to the people or the personalities brought from childhood. I think that's what I propose.
Okay. Your thoughts as we wrap the aspect of what?
I actually agree with Mwalimu the way he says. And to add to it, every institution as of now should put it mandatory that they must have a very active, vibrant guidance and counseling department. Let's have a therapist, a neutral person who you will go and you air your views. And you know, because this person is neutral, you're able to talk, and you know, they're able even to know that kumbe ndio maana unafanyaga hivi. Kumbe it came, you know, they're able to, as they listen to you, it helps. Bible says two people cannot walk together unless they agree. So this is your colleague forever. So you must know how to deal with this person. Ukiona kuna shida, wacha asaidike. So talk to a therapist.
Talk to a therapist. So ukikosana na mtu job, relax, brother.
Actually, don't make a mountain out of something before you know what this person has gone through.
The problem could not even be you. Yet they are angry, getting pissed, clicking, looking at your phone, sending angry messages. It's the other person that
in fact, Ram, you'll be surprised that one of the side effects of this childhood trauma as they grow up is mental health. And even these normal health problem, you hear somebody is not able to manage their blood sugars, their blood pressure. Wewe siku moja amuko ukutane na mtu sukari yake iko juu as a boss, they will preempt everything on you, but you do not know ni sukari ilikuwa imepanda, but it was triggered while they were growing up. So just learn to walk your lane. When somebody comes and they piss you off, just know that I was just fine. Probably you're dealing with your own issues, and I believe and I pray to God that you will overcome them. But don't make a mountain out of it. In fact, don't create grudges out of those people.
In fact, don't even tell them that. Ati, you have your own issues you're dealing with.
They may not even understand. But at least at the back of your mind, you know, tell this person akona shida.
Yes. Don't tell them you have issues. Utapigana ngumi kwa ofisi. Wow. I have so many questions about work. I'm even thinking, what about these people who like competing? Anyway, let's move on. Family. How should couples handle each other? Is it possible to pick out a partner who is actually handling who hasn't handled childhood trauma? I am married to them, and we keep on arguing, keep on fighting. There could be an underlying issue. Let me start with this report, and then I come with you to you, Bana Director. Yes.
You know, when we handle marriage as a topic, that that triggers fire everywhere. It's a very sensitive topic, But I'll say this, You know, we do not have a manual. Isipokuwa ni when people are growing up, they have all those manual, I want tall, dark, handsome, whatnot. You know, as time goes by, all those qualifications, you do away with them. But there is always this thing that I have found, and I was actually doing research on it. I have never, you must have had these people called empath. Empath are people, their personality is so quiet, is so cool, is so calm. You must have had these people, and you realize that most of the time, over 99% of the time, they get married to people we call narcissists, people who will pin them down. And you wonder, why is it that a good person is always being attracted to bad boys, or vice versa? Shida inakuwa nini?
Is it lack of choice? What is the problem, by the way? I don't understand.
Now, when you go back to their upbringing, you would find this child. Let's take an example of a girl. The girl was growing up. The girl probably lost, we are talking about trauma, lost the parent. So this is an orphan, or was brought up by a step-parent who mistreated her. So what is this girl lacking? Love. What is this girl looking for? Love. Who is best suited to give that? Narcissists, because they come and they play an angel before you. Before you know it, you know, they want somebody they can manipulate. So this girl can do anything in her marriage to make it work. And cannot even run away from that marriage because it feels like, you know, narcissists, they know how to, they are manipulators, over manipulative. So this girl, and by the way, if they end this marriage, there's a very high possibility that they'll jump into the second marriage of another narcissist who will still pin them down. So somebody who is coming with a deficiency, and the person who is supposed to cater for that deficiency is the wrong person.
Has a deficiency.
Deficiency no, narcissists, they do have a bloated ego. And by the way, narcissist attitude, it's a personality disorder, can also be traced back.
Is narcissism also something that can be triggered by trauma?
Or okay, I will not really put with trauma, but I'll say it's a personality disorder. We study it when we are dealing with abnormal behaviors.
But can trauma trigger it?
Of course.
I'm thinking it deeply here.
Yeah.
Can trauma trigger character, and particularly narcissism?
Yeah, it can. Yeah, it can. But to a large percentage, parenting. This child akilia unampea, akitaka kila kitu unampea, has a sense of entitlement. I'm entitled to this. People must do this for me.
Akitaka baiskeli unanunua.
You get it for him.
Akitaka lori.
Yeah, and when you don't bring it,
toy.
they make a fuss out of it. So they manipulate you as a parent. So when they grow up, they grow up with that sense of entitlement. They go and manipulate their life partner. And a narcissist cannot marry another narcissist. It's not possible. They'll kill one another.
Okay. Wow.
Yep.
Bwana Director, still on you now. Do you have scenarios where people have gotten married and they keep on feeling as though there is a problem? And the reason why they keep on feeling as though there is a problem is because of one particular issue here. Each and every time this person feels as though this individual is challenging me. Every time you feel like whatever I want to do, they always challenge what I want to do. They always challenge my ideas. And I'm wondering, is that aspect of always feeling challenged a problem that started a while back? Or is it the challenger? Is it a problem that they could have had while they were young that is making them challenge everything in their marriage?
Okay.
So much so that things don't move. Your thoughts are now as a married man.
Yes. Before I talk about that, maybe you can allow me to comment on one issue.
Yes.
That is likely to play in marriage. If a child in the time was being brought up was in a kind of a situation or in a home where the child lacked security or protection. And then in marriage life, the couple might experience some challenges. For instance, you may find a situation whereby maybe a small quarrel in the house, and the next day, maybe the wife who feels I need protection will call the parents there and explain every bit of what happened. So the small challenges that you may be experiencing at home are all over with other people because there is no confidentiality.
Or they are looking for security.
For security.
But in the wrong people.
Exactly.
Is that so?
Yes, exactly.
So they call their in-laws.
Exactly. So you there, your in-laws know all the things you have been doing, the things you have been saying. If you get to know this, it doesn't give you a very good, you're not happy about it.
Because you think my woman or my wife is a parrot.
Yeah, exactly.
She just talks too much.
Yes.
It's not that.
Exactly. Then coming to the issue that you've just raised a while ago, there's what is very important as children grow. There's something we call validation. And validation, yes, it's agreeing on what maybe this child may comment, like the child may say something, but instead of you agreeing with the child, you are revalidating that. You are saying your statement is wrong. So whatever the child says, you are there to counter what the child is saying. So that aspect in childhood of not validating what the child is saying may play in adulthood. That's the time now when I as a husband wants to do this, but my wife has to say no. Because now the concept of not validating statements or what I want to do, or what one wants to do, must always be challenged. Whereas the idea could be good for the family, there is that aspect that this child, during childhood, everything the child wanted to do, others were saying, this is not the right thing to do. So it's always important sometimes when the children say things, allow them, give them the space, support them, not always be there as in the opposition, Yes.
Because sometimes parents like correcting. You
Yes.
correct everything your child does.
Correct.
And when they do the right thing,
Yeah.
you assume it. You don't
Don't
comment
even
on
comment
it.
about it. Yes.
Huh? You don't
Yes.
comment about it.
Yes.
But when they do a wrong thing, that's when you
Yes.
comment.
Yes.
They'll grow up having validation issues even in their marriage.
Correct.
Wow. Zippy, your thoughts on the same?
On the same.
Challenging each other.
I agree with him, and maybe to also add to it, I feel these people with esteem issues, esteem issues.
Yeah.
Even when we are talking about on a normal day basis, somebody with a normal self-esteem, just a balanced one, will have no problem when I say let's rearrange this house, this chair to be here. But somebody whose self-esteem is down there will say, okay, I think he doesn't like the way I arrange this home. So has a problem with it. You know, they
But
feel
Zipporah,
intimidated.
women are like that.
No.
No, let me ask you.
Attack women unless they fight you off on social media.
I don't. Yeah, women may fight me today, but let me say this: that you may say something, or she may ask you a question, and say, James, there is this thing that I have placed or bought here. What do you think about it? And if you fail to say it's beautiful, or if you fail to use certain words, they'll be like, oh, so you don't like it.
Yeah.
But your answer was, okay, it's a good thing. So, no, you did not say it's beautiful. You just said it's good. It means it's not that good.
Yeah.
So do I remove it?
Yeah.
Do I throw it away?
Yeah.
You end up feeling like, was it a trap?
But you know, as the normal as women, men are visual. You see.
Yes.
Women, they are audio. We hear. That's us. I need to hear you telling me you're beautiful. That's a woman. So for a man needs to see beauty. So that's the language. That is the sign language for both of us. So for the man, they see. For the woman, they... And that is why a woman will sit down umudanganye for 2 hours. I'll take you to the moon and back. And you know you cannot. You've never been there. But she'll somehow believe and sit and listen to that nonsense.
Are those childhood issues, unresolved childhood issues of validation, of acceptance, of security, such that when your man doesn't compliment your new hairstyle, you have a problem with it and it's an argument. You did not comment on my new hair. I bought new shoes. I bought new lipstick. We have no idea that color is new.
When we are actually talking to parenting styles, and we are telling you you're parenting a teenager, if you are the father, let this girl know that she's beautiful from you for the first time and as the first person. Do not make the mistake of allowing your daughter to go and hear from Mutuandudi or from the neighborhood, that young man who delivers maize and milk and everything.
Hey.
You will be in for it. Because they are audio. So it is the responsibility of a father. We are talking about parenting and shaping these children so that we avoid some of these behaviors that they carry as adults. Let them know that you validate that they are beautiful. They will know. So even when it is coming from another boy there, outside there, another man there, another, what do you call them? The sponsors, she will not pick it. She knows, yeah, my dad tells me that. But if she hears that for the first time from a sponsor, you've lost it.
You've lost it.
You've lost it.
Because there is somebody who built her self-esteem when she was young.
Yes. Very important.
Wow. Wow.
Equally, even your wife, don't allow your wife to be competent outside there. Hey, you have a beautiful hairstyle, what, and you're the husband and you did not say that. My friend, you'll be a failed game. You're failing. Their heart will start being directed towards that person. And you know, women like to be listened to. Somebody comes and you know, she's just talking and you know, mimi kwangu sijui niko na ine, and then somebody gives 5,000. And the husband had not given that. My friend, you've begun losing it. You are in the losing end. So that's us.
Now there's something she's brought up. I think it's something we can pursue. She has mentioned the sponsor.
Yes.
And then that could also be something that is probably coming down from childhood. Because children should have their basic needs provided.
Sure.
And in a situation whereby in a family setting or the caretakers are not able to provide to these children, there is that aspect of lack that may crop in. And to solve that in adulthood, that's why you're having very many the youth, falling into sponsors. Not for anything else, but probably to meet their basic necessities. And in so doing, other things are really cropping up. And so I think that could also be something that may play from childhood coming up to adulthood.
Okay, allow me to deviate a bit, and this may touch across board. Campus kids, those who are in primary, secondary, whichever. Assuming that it is your brother or sister in school, or your son or daughter in school, that calls home and tells you, I need pocket money, I need 500, send me 200, send me 1,000, Bob, whichever, X amount of money. Every time they keep on calling you, should you send it? Or should you do it today, stop tomorrow, do it another time? How frequent should you do that? Because you've mentioned sponsors. And I'm looking at dependency and codependency.
Okay. Okay.
Is this an issue that also plays a role in this conversation here? Zipporah?
Yeah, it does. And that one is actually very tricky. We started by talking about these parents who are overprotective and the nature of damage that these children carry through. So it is not everything that your child asks for that you should provide. While we were growing up, there are so many other things. I think we were given the basics. So these are the things, the luxury, you'll get them as you grow. So when you're parenting this young child, let them know that people work and then it's not everything they want that they get.
Okay.
At least give the basic. Yeah. When they grow up, they learn to be contented with what the parent has provided. These children that you see are not getting contented. They want another lifestyle that they cannot fund.
Until they get for sponsor.
Yes, that is where the sponsor comes in. Mom, you cannot change my wardrobe. Now, who changes wardrobe in campus and is not yet working?
Sure.
Are you getting it? So they are putting a lot of pressure on you. But you should have worked on that early enough. Let them know that it's Christmas time. You're shopping for clothes. Not so many, but what is just enough. Not wasteful. So let them know that you work for money. And money is supposed to be earned, not just given freely. When they grow up with the concept of even saving and, being contented with what the parent is providing, they will not be problematic when they go up there. But the moment they know, and again you find out, it's also good to find out, why do they want money? Because sometimes you can send money and it is maybe being used to buy drugs and substance abuse. So why? You don't spoil them with your own money. Just give them what is enough.
Teach your children to be content.
Kabisa.
Watosheke.
Kabisa.
So that they don't go to school and fight over things.
Yes.
And steal.
Yes.
I'm wondering, these children that steal in school, what is wrong with their background? Or what is the miss there? I want us to look at a question. I hear one of our viewers has sent in a question and we can help him. Sindio? Our director, counselor, tutamsaidia huyu.
Sure.
This is Laban. And Laban, thank you so much for sharing this. And amesema hivi. So I'm having an issue. I have this kind of problem. It weighs me down at times, even I lock myself up and cry. There are times I just accept and move on. I believe hapo kwa low self-esteem. We will address that to number one. And number two, I also have a girls mentorship program that I've started in my community. Sometimes it doesn't.
It's tough.
Sometimes it's tough because I'm not experienced in that sector, psychology. Okay, how can you help me in both cases? Kindly advise me as your son. Thank you, Laban. These are two issues here. Let's start with the mentorship issues, ndio? Yeah, how you can sustain. Sasa hii hizo wakuone kando ama nini? Okay, let me just give you time to talk about the number two first. Hiyo naona ni rahisi. Yeah, but you can reach out to Zipporah and she can help you for the mentorship on your programs. Ama?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That's actually part of what we do. So when I look at I have a girls teens mentorship program that I have started. It's a CBO, I believe so, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So it's tough because I'm not experienced. So you can reach out to us so that we know what are the activities that you do there, and maybe we can link you with people within your area. And when we are available, we can also maybe channel our knowledge towards assisting that.
How can Laban reach out to you, Zipporah?
Myself, let him get to me in my Facebook account, Zipporah Wanyeki. Can go to my YouTube and my Twitter, but Facebook is easier because when he sends a messenger, I'm going to reply to him. Zippy Wanyeki.
Okay, Laban, do you have a comment on the city?
Yeah, probably on question issue number 1.
Okay.
Well, from this, we are not able to know exactly what kind of a problem, but to me, I think it could be a major problem because you can see he's saying that he actually sometimes finds himself crying.
Yes.
And that is something that Laban needs to be assisted. So I think one of the areas by which you're able to solve some of those childhood issues is through a counselor. And I'm happy that Zipporah is one.
Yeah.
And I want to recommend that Laban needs to go through some counseling sessions and is able to overcome his challenge.
Okay.
Yes.
Zipporah, comment on number 1 also?
Number 1, looking at
low
what you said.
self-esteem.
I believe this is a boy. It's Laban.
Yeah, Laban.
Yeah. So he says that he locks himself up. That is something that should trigger an alarm, because for how strong Laban can you be that strong? You know, even a spring, when it reaches the final elasticity stage, it can just blow up. So we do not want you to keep on, pushing and piling up those emotions, because when he says it weighs him down and he locks himself up, it tells you that this is something he hasn't been able to share with anyone else. He's keeping it to himself and he believes it is fine. You are not fine, let us put it that way, until you sit down with a neutral person, a therapist, a counselor, who will probably listen to you without judging you. No matter what it is, nothing is too big for this life. And so we can listen to him, we can help.
And Laban, reach out to Zipporah, okay, and she will help you. And of course, people like even my brother here, they handle schools, institutions. Yeah, he's a director there. He can help you with your teens mentorship. Mnaweza wasiliana.
That's true.
And of course, reach out to someone. It's okay not to be okay. Crying is okay, but seek help. I want us to bring the conversation to a close, because childhood trauma is a very broad conversation. We've not tackled whether the damages are permanent or not. We've not tackled that, but I believe that they are not permanent.
No, they're not.
Let me give you time to have a final word on this conversation, and let me start with you, James. You can look at your camera here. Talk to Kenyans as we bring this conversation to a close. Your final remarks.
Thank you. I want to say that it's such a nice thing to be knowledgeable, because even the Bible says that my people perish for lack of knowledge. And if you find yourself going through a challenge, someone said that what we are today is as a result of decisions that were made or were not made in the past.
Sure.
So but the beauty of it is, if things are not working well, there is still a way that we can be able to rectify. So check on the issues that you may have gone through in childhood and how are they playing today in adulthood, and see what remedies can be done to correct that. Thank you.
Zipporah, over to you. Final comments, final remarks as we bring this conversation to a close. Kenyans watching you today.
Okay, thank you. So I would want to tell people this, that your childhood experiences, they have formed the overall you. How you're behaving today is as a result of how you're brought up. So let me talk to the Kenyan parents, because that is our #1 viewers. The Kenyan parents, we are expecting you to bring up godly children, children with morals. Be there, be present for these children. Help them to grow. Give them secure attachment, not too much, but at least be there for these children, so that even when they grow up to be responsible and good citizens. So some of these things, we can work out our indifferences without involving our children into it. Right. Should you find yourself in a marriage that is not working, do not drag your children into it, so that we can be able to help. And when too much is too much, seek help. We are there to help. Reach out to a therapist, to a counselor near you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And let's bring this conversation to a close with a quote of the day. And this is a quote by Maria Montessori, and it says, "Childhood constitutes the most important element in an adult's life, for it is in his early years that a man is made. It's a very important element in an adult's life. And with that quote, we bring it up to a close. A big thanks to Zipporah for coming. A big thanks to you, James. Thanks so much for coming. One thing that I always say is train up your child according to how you want him to grow, and he will never depart from it. God first in every family. My name is Aguko. It's a pleasure being with you on this fine Thursday morning. This is Power Talk. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we're done.
Yeah.